Hello, my dear friends, how are you? Look, being socially active, that is our need. And every now and then, we are interacting with the people, we are talking to the people. As far our talks are concerned, so our talks are sometimes making our impression better and improving, strengthening our relationship with other people. And not only this thing, at the same time, in on many occasions, whatever we are talking about, it is creating a bad impression about our personality, about our behavior, about ourselves. And is it weakening? It weakens or destroys our relationship with some of the people or with that particular person. So what does it mean? It means that our conversation matters and matters a lot. Actually, if at all we want to understand somebody, it is very important indeed to let them talk. And once they are talking, we are better able to make an assessment the type of people they are, and the type of relationship we can afford to make with those particular people. It can, as for our relationships, it matters a lot really. So keeping in view all that, we have decided to talk about our conversation, and particularly the type of conversation we need to avoid, the type of topics we need to avoid, the type of matters we need to avoid, and not to discuss it, not to be the first to discuss it. And that is very important indeed. Let's begin that what type of matter and what topics to avoid during the conversation, so that on the one hand our impression about ourselves is not destroyed, on the other hand our relationships with somebody is not destroyed, our perspective relationship with somebody is not killed at all. So let's begin about those items. First of all, there is a category of item which can be called sensitive or critical topics. Some of the topics are sensitive and some of the topics are critical. So for that reason, it is far better to avoid discussing those particular matters. Number one is it is the politics, and avoid discussing political politics, especially if you especially if you are unsure of other person's views. So that particular in that particular situation, it is far better not to discuss the politics unless and until you know the views of the other party, the person you are talking to. Number two, it is the religion. The second is the religion, and it is that refrain from discussing religious beliefs or religious practices as well, unless you are certain it's a safe topic. That is, my dear friend, refrain from discussing religious beliefs or religious practices unless you are certain it's a safe topic, mean the other person is also having almost the same sort of opinion. Now the third topic, that is the sex and the relationships. The sex and the relationship, it is avoid explicit and personal discussion. Avoid explicit or personal discussion about the sex or relationships or the dating. Not to talk about your personal matters, not to let other person, maybe not to ask such questions from the other people at all. So that is the sex and the relationships. Avoid this third topic as well. Now this is the first category of the topic we need to avoid, and the second category of the topics is that is the personal and the private matters. The personal and the private matters. So my dear friends and fellows, it is the number one. What are the personal and the private matters? Number one, it is the health issues. It is the health issues. And avoid asking about or discussing someone's health issues unless they bring it up. It is that is avoid asking about or discussing someone's health issues unless they bring it up. So that is the number one, that is the personal and private matter. Number two, it is the financial matters. And financial matters mean refrain from asking about refrain from asking about or discussing someone's financial solution. That is, refrain from asking about or discussing someone's financial situation, because that is also something which is personal, which is private, which is sensitive. Now the third is the personal problems. The personal problem. Avoid prying into someone's personal problems or the personal struggles as well. It is the avoid prying into someone's personal problems or the personal struggles as well. So that is the third one. So my dear friends and fellows, it is the personal and the private matters, the three of these. Now, the third category of the topic, the matters which we need to avoid, and that is the negative and critical topics. The negative topics as well as the critical topics. Number one, it is the gossip. Gossip. It is avoid gossiping or or speaking negatively about others. Avoid gossiping and avoid speaking negatively about others. So that is the number one as far the negative and the critical topics are concerned. Number two point is that is the complaint. We are seen complaining for so much of the time. So for that reason, I think it is very important that we should avoid the complaints and refrain from excessive complaining. Refrain from excessive complaining and excessive negativity as well. Avoid doing all that. The third one is the criticism. The third one is the criticism, and it is avoid criticizing others. Avoid criticizing others and criticizing their work or criticizing their opinion as well. So that is the criticism. So my dear friends and fellows, this is the topic also which we need to avoid, and it is the negative and the critical topics. Now it is the cultural and social taboos as well. Cultural and social taboos, and these are only two in number. Number one, it is the cultural differences. Cultural differences. That is, be respectful of cultural differences. Be respectful of cultural differences and avoid making assumptions. Be respectful of cultural offenses. Be respectful of cultural differences and avoid making assumptions or stereotypes. Now, the second point, as for the cultural and social taboos are concerned, it is the social norms, and it is be aware of social norms. Be aware of social norms and avoid discussing topics that may be considered impolite or insensitive. So it is the, let me repeat, it is the social norms, and it is be aware of social norms and avoid discussing topics that may be considered impolite or insensitive as well. Now, the last thing, as far as today's topic is concerned, it is about the other conversation killers. Other conversation killers, and these are only three in number. Number one, it is lying or exaggerating. Lying or exaggerating. Avoid dishonesty or exaggerating the truths. Avoid dishonesty, mean lying altogether or exaggerating the issue as well, exaggerating the truth as well. So that is the number one thing. And the number two is, it is dominating the conversation, dominating the conversation, and make sure to listen actively. Make sure to listen actively and allow others to contribute to conversation. It is about, that is, dominating the conversation, and make sure to listen actively and allow others to contribute to conversation as better as they want to, or as better as they can. And now the third and the last point is that using jargon or technical terms, using the jargons or the technical terms, avoid using technical terms or the jargon that others may not understand, that others may not understand, are because they will be feeling boredom. And be by avoiding these topics and by avoiding these matters, you can create a more positive and a more respectful conversational environment. So, my dear friend, which can help you build stronger relationships, which can help you build stronger relationships and make better expression, better impression about you yourself. I think, as far as today's topic is concerned, that is the need of each and every individual, and for that reason, I think that we should be taking care of that. We are not talking about such matters, and we are not taking such issues. We are not, discussing about these topics, because it will not create a good impression about us at all. So that is all from me today. Thank you very much.